What about actually moving around, you may ask? Well, obviously you're on a boat, you're on the canal, so you've pretty much got a choice of going that way or that way. Moving around is pretty easy and simple. There's maybe a little bit of a learning curve depending on your confidence really, but basically you have your tiller at the back, which you use to steer, your throttle, and that's it. Some of the bigger boats and more fancier vessels may have things like bow thrusters, but like I say, that's all stuff for you to learn as you go along. Where I am on the Llangollen Canal, the speed limit is 4 miles an hour, so don't expect to be travelling anywhere fast, and I don't know how fast this boat would actually go, to be honest. I might be able to whack out 10 miles an hour if I'm going with the current. Obviously you should never try such ridiculous speeding. Moving the boat's a nice sort of pleasant activity. Obviously when you have some of the worst weather, it can get a little bit cold, a little bit wet and a little bit wind battered out here. But like I say, luckily you're literally moving your entire home, so you've only got to duck in through that door and, well, you should hopefully be nice and warm and have all your comforts. When it comes to actually moving to and from the boat though, obviously this is the area where it's far more tricky to figure out what your best bet is. I have a fixed job in the town of Oswestry, so I always try and make sure that over the winter I have a winter mooring, which you can pay so much a month and moor at places, and that obviously means I can be easily within travelling distance to town, as it's just lucky as where the canal is in regards to Oswestry. I have my bike here, which is pretty much my lifeline and what I consider to be my car, as obviously trying to fetch a car with you on the canal is very impractical. As well, I mean, some places the canal goes a long way from the road, some places you can moor up next to a car park, but obviously if you're trying to travel on a boat, you're then going to have to go back to a car to move that somewhere, move the car first, come back to the boat, move the boat to the car. Some people do it, but like I say, it seems an awful lot of hassle to me, and personally I don't want that extra cost when I can get along fine on the good old bicycle. Obviously you've got all your various bus routes and that, which I would say definitely, depending on what area you're going into, figure those out, because obviously you're going to want to get food and supplies to and from the boat sooner or later. Things like coal and gas bottles and heavier items you can get from marinas, which once again, check your local area and see what they do and where they are. But yeah, travelling for me personally is all sorted and sussed fine. Like I say, I tootle along on the boat, moor up over the winter at a fixed place, and have my bike to get to and from Tilly when needs be. The general rule on moving the boat, if you're a continuous cruiser, which I am, is that you're not allowed to stay in the same area for more than 2 weeks. So obviously there's a lot of ambiguity in that, but personally I tend to move every week or so and just keep, well, travelling down one way until I finally think, right, it's time for winter mooring, I better get myself right up the other side of the canal. If you did want to keep the boat in one place, then obviously you've got the option of putting it in a marina, and there's various online moorings about, which are sort of owned by private landowners on the opposite side. And it's that sort of thing that, once again, you have to check your own local area and decide for yourself what your best option is, because all that's the sort of thing that can up your monthly cost of living by quite a lot, or not much, depending on how you feel about it. Ultimately though, living on a boat is something that you've got to either do or not. I'd say dive into a few boats that are for sale and have a proper route around them and see what you think, and could you see yourself living on board and how would it suit you. Speak to local boaters. I mean, people like me will be happy to witter on at you for hours on end about living on a boat and what it's like. But like I say, for me personally, it's been the best decision of my life. I mean, I've always loved being out in the countryside. I walk and bike thousands of miles a year, and now I get to start off from places like this. I mean, it's just absolutely fantastic. As I said, I would show you the wood on the roof. I've been very lazy and haven't started cutting it properly yet. But, I mean, if this is what you want your life to be about, then, well, what can you say? I will welcome you with open arms to the canal. Anyway, I've been Dan Brown. I hope you've enjoyed this completely random look at boat life and a few things to consider. If you've got any questions at all, then leave them in the comments and I'll try and answer them and probably cover them in other videos as well in the future. Make sure you subscribe to me videos for a load more narrowboat life, and well, till the next time, farewell, and perhaps you very soon will be. Now here's an outro for you. Turn in the ignition on your very own boating adventure. Yeah.